What do y'all think Jackson Mahomes and whatever Patrick Mahomes' wife's name is? What do you think they did at halftime to him to make him look like that? Like they probably came down to the locker room now so they could film a TikTok. and then
it was just not about it.
Fuck this.
I can't. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are listening. This is the Bros and the Berg Podcast, talking about all things sports, pop culture, and anything else that goes on that makes the front page of Reddit and other websites. Appreciate you listening to us wherever you are, Spotify, Anchor, or on YouTube. Those are different places you can catch the old podcast. I'm Ryan Doyle. I'm the top talent of the podcast. We have Connor Doyle as the executive producer, and Robbie Bergson, our NHL analyst and our gambling extraordinaire.
Yeah, I love how that's his. Went 0 for 4 in his NFL picks today. So let's just go with that.
I hit the under on the Rams Niners.
3 for 4, baby.
I also
barely 3 for 4.
I was also the degenerate that picked the fucking push on the.
I did appreciate.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why you picked that.
I didn't know what the odds were. I think that's funny. I didn't put any money on it. I was
True.
Just, here
we
are.
All right, so we're going to start out today with the most recent game, the last game that we saw, which was the NFC Conference Championship. It was the Rams versus the 49ers. Much different game than earlier in the day. This was a lot sloppier than the first game. Mm-hmm. This was very gritty. Like no pun intended, Justin Jefferson. This was very.
I gotta go.
That was bad.
It's way too early in the podcast for you to be doing that. I don't know about that.
This was very great from the fact, like, the defenses legitimately looked like they were trying to hurt the receivers. Like, they were trying to hit them as hard as they could. Like, Denzel Ward, did he get ejected? I didn't hear.
There was a lot of Vontaze Burfict out on the field.
Yeah, no, literally. Denzel Ward lit up OBJ. Debo he had to take, like, a TV timeout because he got lit up so bad in the middle of the field.
I was going to say, if Jimmy G would stop throwing Debo hospital balls.
Literally.
A lot of hospital throws out there.
Debo was running the ball a lot tonight, too. He was running back a lot. So, I mean, you can't.
I don't know what you really expected. The Niners had scored 2 offensive touchdowns in the postseason coming into this game. I mean, obviously, one excuse was in Lambeau in terrible conditions. But, obviously, the Niners have had the weakest offense by far in the conference championship games out of the 4 teams.
If you swap quarterbacks on these 2 teams, I think the Niners win by double digits. Like, I don't think it's overly close if they have Stafford and.
Dude, Stafford threw some bad balls tonight. Like Stafford threw. Yeah, I know. Stafford threw. He chucked a ball that should have been picked off. That literally dropped through the Niners safety.
Terrible.
I was awful. Like, what is happening? He did that against I think last week. He did the same exact ball last week to Cup, like way deep, and then just completely screwed the pooch. I don't know why he threw that ball.
I mean, it's just sometimes stuff that you're going to get with Stafford. I mean, he's a gunslinger, kind of like Favre of old. He'll just chuck shit downfield and see what happens. I mean, he was 31 for 45 on the night. QB rating of 96.3. Jimmy G with an 87.1. Both had 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jimmy G was only throwing with 50% completion percentage, which is pretty abysmal. But I would
argue that the Rams tried to lose this game. And I say that purely from, I think Stafford had a couple bad balls. Sean McVay challenged twice. Terrible challenges. Horrid challenges. And I consider McVay as a really good decision maker in terms of being a coach. Those were terrible. He just cost his team 2 timeouts. I don't know why he challenged either of those. Because they wouldn't have changed the course of the game.
Something about football that doesn't make sense to me, right, is like using your timeouts to prevent a delay of game in like the middle of the game. So like they're a third timeout of the second half. It was like the third quarter, they were at the 50-yard line. It was like 1st and 10, and they were about to get a delay of game, and they used a timeout.
Yeah.
So, what's like your timeout at that point in the game? A timeout is a lot more valuable than 5 yards. If it's later in the game, you're driving. Obviously, that's different, but that just didn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah. I mean, both defenses.
Niners at one point had, an 82% chance to win this game. They're up by 10. Yep. I mean, even with the earlier game, down by 18. I mean, big comebacks from both these teams. Big storyline. We'll see how Higbee is. I know he went out pretty early in the game with a knee injury. He's been huge for LA this year. Cooper Kupp got his 15 catches or something ridiculous again.
At this point.
If you're the GM or Kyle Shanahan, what do you do with Jimmy G? We talked about a little bit last week, but I mean,
good conditions, didn't show up.
He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen.
They're going to still wait on Trey Lance. They're just going to see what Lance can do. I mean, you can't.
But really you go into next year expecting to start Lance. Are you giving him more time? I mean, he looked okay when he came in, but he wasn't setting the world on fire.
See what he's like in the offseason. I don't think you. I mean, you're not going to draft another guy. I mean,
definitely.
You already have your wide receiver 1, and Kittle's obviously an incredible tight end. So,
are you trading Jimmy G? Because you could probably get something back for Jimmy G. I think there's teams out there that, I mean, they're not going to get a first round pick or anything crazy, but you could get some value back for Jimmy G if you're the Niners.
But he's such a solid backup.
Paying him?
If you want him as a backup, though, he's so solid. Yeah, but he is probably getting paid way too much for the position that he's in.
He's up there with Kirk Cousins of quarterbacks. You're probably not going to find anyone better, but also you're why are we paying this fairly average quarterback so much money?
Mm-hmm. And kickers yet again proving their worth in both the games today. Obviously, we didn't talk about the divisional round last week because we recorded before. Arguably the best, probably not even arguably, probably the best divisional round of NFL playoffs ever. 3 game-winning field goals, an incredible last game that went to overtime. Patrick Mahomes with a 13-second drive, and they won the game. And ESPN loves to shove the fact in Cowboys fans' faces that drive took less time than Dak's last run. ESPN, they had 2 timeouts. I
also want to point out that the San Francisco 49ers gave a 30-year-old Jimmy G a 5-year, $138 million contract.
Again, Kirk Cousins money that you're I have to pay him else will, and I'm not going to find anyone better, but I'm not very happy about it.
Yeah, he's the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league, 19th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, number 1 on the San Francisco 49ers.
That's actually nuts. I mean, but
Debo soon, right? Debo should be coming up for a contract extension.
Yeah, that man will get paid.
Well, the problem with Jimmy G, right? It's not that Jimmy G is good; is that he has so many playmakers. Like tonight, Debo had so many run after the catch. Ayuk had a really good game. Ayuk had a lot of runs after the catch. Kittle had an incredible touchdown catch. You just have so many
coming along. I mean, they have a legit wide receiver 3 now as well. Yeah. I mean, he made a couple really good
Jimmy
plays.
G is just mid.
Mitchell played fine.
Just mid.
They have really good skills positions. If they had an elite quarterback, they'd be probably in the Super Bowl. Probably be in the Super Bowl.
Which goes back to Robbie's comment earlier. If you trade quarterbacks, not that Stafford's elite, but he's better than Jimmy G. Where does this game end?
What if Rodgers comes home, plays for the 49ers next year? They'd be massive.
They would actually be nuts.
That'd be gross.
Yeah, that would.
Didn't the OC is now at Denver, and then the quarterback coach? Where did he go? I saw that he also went somewhere.
To the Bears.
To the Bears. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can get more into the Rodgers whole thing a little bit later, but I don't. With all that, the coaching changes and whatnot, and the disappointing season, I don't see him staying in Green Bay. There's no shot.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's going to retire, but yeah, we'll get onto that a little later. I mean, another big storyline for this game, Aaron Donald, except for the last play, was a non-factor. Aaron Donald didn't do anything.
The Niners have schemed him out every game this year.
Yeah, no, they did a very good job of.
And same with Von Miller. Von Miller was also a non-factor. After last week when they just tore up everyone.
It was the opposite.
Guys that are necessarily non-factors when you have to game plan for them, right? Aaron is getting double teamed majority of the plays that they're running. So it's not that he's a non-factor. It's just the Niners made it a priority. We're going to make other people on the defense beat us besides Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and potentially Jalen Ramsey.
His double team win rate is insane still. You still expect
agreed.
Off of double teams, and he didn't really do that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously the biggest play that he got was the last play of the game, in which he eventually got to Jimmy, because it looked like the 49ers snapped the ball too fast. They didn't look like they were ready for the play. And then Jimmy G had to run around. Donald got to him, and he flicked this terrible ball out to the running back. The running back, to be fair, the running back should have caught it, but it wasn't fourth down. Why did Jimmy G throw that ball? There was no point. You wouldn't have gained anything from throwing that ball and him catching it.
Probably just time's running down, right? But
they had a timeout.
He didn't look real comfortable.
No,
I
not
mean, you got a big man chasing after you, and the time's running short, and you're down. Sometimes you just try to be the hero, and just obviously it didn't work out.
No, I mean, also,
this game sucked because it didn't end on a wall.
So, right. True.
This is the streak.
This game was also like a lot bigger hits. Right, like Stafford got hit in the back of the head like early in the game by that after he threw his pick.
That was
smoked in the back of the head, and the refs didn't call it. Like some of these helmet-to-helmet stuff. So, a lot harder hitting than the earlier game, the Cincy Kansas City game. Which, I mean, AFC is fun to watch, man.
No, I mean,
like, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals. I mean, it's been fun.
But man, did that game kill all of the big storylines from last week's game of, Bills and Chiefs was the real AFC Championship game. And, overtime is decided on the coin toss. Like, if you give Patrick Mahomes the coin toss, he's always going to win in overtime. Like,
those two throws in overtime were terrible.
What happened to Patrick Mahomes? Like, he went in, did he go in at halftime and just decide he didn't want to throw the ball anymore? Because he looked scared in the second half. Like the man did not want to throw the ball.
So do we want to move on to the Bengals Chiefs?
Oh yeah,
I was going to say the same thing. The Mahomes came out of the second half, looked awful. Like he didn't look like himself at all. And I don't know. And it's like you said, in overtime, 3 and out, and I would argue that every single one of those 3 downs was his fault. They didn't convert.
I think this loss is firmly on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders.
I agree.
He made their offense terrible in the second half. I mean, they were still running the ball, okay, but he literally could not complete a pass.
He looked like he did in the first 5 games of the year when Kansas City was struggling so bad. He looked the exact same. He just reverted back. I don't know what happened.
I think an interesting point, like you said earlier in the season, his offensive line did not play as well today.
No.
The Bengals were able to get a lot more pressure on him than I had seen in past couple of games. I mean, he was sacked 4 times, and even when he wasn't sacked, he was doing so much side to side running, like trying to get open.
Well, some of those sacks were on him though. He was holding on to the ball forever. I mean,
he would
just
sack that was like 3rd and 3, right? And you were on the 50, so it was like right outside of field goal range. But taking a sack and punting the ball is like there's no difference at that point. So like I remember seeing that sack. He was like, okay, he's just waiting for something to develop. If not, he takes a sack. It's no big deal. He don't want to turn the ball over. So, but I mean, Burrow was only sacked once. He looked pretty comfortable. T. Higgins had a big day with Jamar Chase getting doubled on at least 50% of the snaps.
But
I bet the T. Higgins under on receiving yards. Just want to throw that out there.
Payton Agnew. I'm betting the number was not under 103, was it?
It was 78.
Higgins, dude, he's huge. I didn't realize how tall he was.
He's a big dude.
Jacked, yeah. But on Jamar, that one, did y'all see that fade ball to the left corner? That was such a crazy catch. He's such a good player.
He's good at football.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You guys see the picture after the game of Joe Burrow's dad and Jamar Chase's dad?
That's so cold.
Cigars together. That was sweet.
So cold.
Often like chimneys in the parking lot. I
just
love seeing that.
Bro, I saw a comment that said, "This is what MLK hoped for." So I was like that. But on your point of the Chiefs O-line, Ryan, I would argue that the Bengals O-line didn't perform great either. But to be fair, the Bengals O-line isn't that good. Like,
we know they've been bad.
Yeah. But I mean, Burrow had some incredible improvised runs. Like I would honestly argue that Burrow improvises on the run better than he does on the pass.
Like, you want to know what Burrow's over-under was on his rushing yards today? You want to know what the number was?
What was
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
I'd crushed at 25. You love to see it.
Yeah, that was easy money if you bet on that today.
Well,
Joe Mixon looked good too.
Mixon looked good. I'm specifically saying that because of that one. It was on one of their last drives on the Bengals where they were like at the 40-yard line. It was 3rd and 10, and Burrow was just like running around, and then one of the D linemen like kept trying to grab up, and he like high stepped him, and then he got 10 yards and reached across the line. I was like, that was such a good play. Like that was a huge play in terms of the game.
Yep. What do y'all think Jackson Mahomes and whatever Patrick Mahomes' wife's name is? What do you think they did at halftime to him to make him look like that? Like they probably came down to the locker room and asked if they could film a TikTok. and then
he was just not about it.
I can't. His TikToks I don't really care about, but the people that like duet him and make like jokes about it kill me. They're absolutely hysterical.
Also, all-time meme now of his wife popping champagne last week, and then they don't even make it to the Super Bowl this week, and she sprayed it all over people. I was saying if I was a Bengals fan going to the game, you had to sneak in some mini bottles of champagne Figure out where her box is and sit right below it, so that way when you win, you start shaking it up and hitting her back. That would have been elite.
That's so funny.
Kind of along the same lines as the Rams 49ers game. This wasn't. It was very much the opposite in terms of the Rams 49ers was very scrappy. This was very much like composed and playing real football. But there was also, I would argue that there was a lot of like people, defenders, specifically cornerbacks, grabbing like arms and PIs not being called. They grabbed a lot of arms, and like especially in the first half, I didn't see any PI calls. And then they finally.
At least they were consistent about it, though.
I agree.
They swallowed their whistles, which like if you're gonna do it, might as well do it the whole game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. And the corners capitalized on it. Like I said, I mean, it was a lot of hand fighting and arm grabbing, really, and they just didn't call it. Which if you're like you said, be consistent if you're gonna go on one end.
Absolutely cannot believe Eli Apple started talking shit to Tyreek Hill after the game
on Twitter.
And got burned all game. Like Eli Apple had a wild game, and he's on Twitter talking shit to Tyreek Hill.
To be fair, Tyreek didn't have any catches or yards in the second half for overtime.
That's fair.
A single one. So he played well in the first half and the second half. And since Cincinnati was down 19-21, and then they had they brought in this small white kid and had a phenomenal play call to get the 2-point conversion where he just ran and out, and like Chiefs defense was just bamboozled. Like had no idea what this man was doing, and that was a great play call. And then even before overtime, Mahomes on his last 3 plays was awful. Like he was on the 40-yard line or so, or no, 30 or so, and just had a terrible. And I wrote it down in my notes. I said Mahomes with an abysmal last 3 plays, and then Butker comes out, kicks it, and then it's overtime, and then the coin toss. The Chiefs win again, and I thought it was over. Yeah, I thought it was over, and I made a bet in another one of our group chats where I said to Mon, I'll bet you $5 on this opening drive that the Chiefs score a touchdown, and they didn't because of Mahomes had a terrible 3 downs.
Let's not forget the end of the first half. The Chiefs gave away 3 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
It could have been different. I mean, I don't know why Patrick Mahomes throws that ball out to Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. Like, if he doesn't score, it's halftime. Like, you have to get 3 points. That's free points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
100%. And overtime comes around. They go 3 and Chiefs go 3 and out. Higgins, and then Bengals get the ball back. Higgins has some phenomenal catches. I thought Mixon was going to get in the end zone on that one. He tripped. I thought he was in the end zone. I thought Bengals were going to the Super Bowl.
Would your opponent hit if Mixon scored?
K-Makers didn't score tonight.
Okay.
So. But man, I like stood up. Whenever Mixon broke through, like this is it.
I thought he was in. I thought he was in.
I was like, if I'm Zach Taylor, I'm just gonna keep running Joe Mixon. I'm completely unbiased, but McPherson would have stayed on the sideline if it was me.
Talk about a rookie kicker who's making an impact. Holy God, McPherson is ridiculous. The next Justin Tucker.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a kicker that like crazy dominant like that.
He's like 10 for 10 in the postseason.
Yeah, he hasn't missed on the road.
That's wild. As a rookie,
all season he hasn't missed on the road, not postseason. Like all season he hasn't missed a kick.
But look, Ryan, your Bengals prediction already came true about them getting in a Super Bowl within 5 years. So that's
great take.
Great take from Ryan Doyle here.
Yeah, I did take the Chiefs to cover, but I'll take my wins if I can get them.
Yeah. Talk about it.
I was gonna say we'll do a deep, Super Bowl preview next week. I feel like, but how in the world does the Bengals O-line block the Rams? Like how are they blocking Aaron Donald?
That's a good question.
Because I think the Titans front is probably pretty equivalent to the Rams, like probably 2 of the better defensive fronts in football. And they couldn't block them to save their lives.
I wonder if we have do we have Super Bowl odds out yet?
I would think so. They dropped those after the game.
Okay,
Ryan, look up the line. I want Connor and I to guess what the line is. I haven't.
Okay.
Robbie,
I got it. It is because where is this out from? This is from DraftKings.
Okay, right. Connor, what you?
Say that again.
What do you think the line's gonna be?
Oh God.
Whose line is it, anyways?
I think it's going to be Rams plus 200.
Are we doing? Wait. Sorry. Are we doing odds or spread? I was going to do spread.
Excuse me.
Give me what you think the over/under is, what the spread is, and then give me. I mean, you don't have to do money line.
I think Rams minus 5.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
Berg.
what's the over/under number? You think, Connor?
I'm thinking I am thinking 49.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's probably Rams 3.5 minus 3.5.
Okay.
And over under of 49 is probably pretty good. I'm gonna go 51.
I almost said 51.
You gentlemen are very good on this application. So we got the Rams -4 in between you jokers, and I don't know how you did this. The over under is 50 even.
We're so good.
Absolutely locked in.
Robbie, anytime we have like gambling odds, we just have to like say what ours are and then average them.
So intrinsically, that means they're predicting a score of Rams 27, Bengals 23. If we're going off those
I could
odds.
see that. I could honestly see that
which is reasonable. You also have to think this is a home game for the Rams.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Like, remember, as of last year, no team had ever played in a Super Bowl in their home
back to back.
The last 2 years.
That's actually nuts.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure there is some odds baked into that they are technically at home. Again, this is the Bengals fans going to travel well for this game, right? It's like you're going to LA, your team's first Super Bowl in 35 years.
Joe Shiesty.
Fans were there today. I mean, that stadium was mostly red.
Yeah, the Rams haven't been adopted very well.
Yeah, but that's San Fran. That's in California though.
Well, I was reading an article talking about that, and they were saying that, the higher the prices are for any Rams game, the more away fans there are, because the Rams just don't really have that following yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And so a lot of times, the Rams fans get priced out of tickets because they go up so high.
Yeah.
So, the earlier game against the 49ers is the same thing. It was mostly Niners fans in SoFi. So I'm curious to see, you have the Rams, who were in a Super Bowl not that long ago, which is something to think about. And then you got the Bengals, who hadn't won a playoff game in however many years up until this point. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of orange in that stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before the season started, I was really excited for Stafford's chance, right? He suffered so many years, right? And so, I was rooting for him. But I mean, this Bengals team is exciting and young and charismatic, and I think there's a lot of good to root for. I don't think there's necessarily a lot of people that hate these two teams, unless you're a Saints fan. You just hate the Rams forever.
Ryan,
don't know anyone like that. But
I couldn't name a single person.
Ryan, can you give me quick research? Can you look up the average age for the Bengals starting unit? I want, because I don't.
They're starting, what do you mean? Bengals just average age on roster?
Yeah, sure. I'm just wondering, when's the last time we've seen a team that's this young, this successful? I don't know if it's happened for a long time.
So the Bengals are one of the youngest teams. If we look, their average overall age is 25.69 years.
Okay.
They have only 5 players over 30.
That's
they'll be the youngest Super Bowl team to ever play in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably. That's what I was thinking.
I see the 2013 Seahawks were
sorry, Ryan.
26.4.
26.4 fans might not be able to see this. YouTube fans, here goes the cat.
Cadillac.
I think there's a fly that flew in here a couple minutes ago, so he's kind of been all over that.
He looks wired.
Yeah, I don't know. He got it. I think he got into the pre-workout.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm saying that the 2013 Seahawks had an average age of 26.4, which they're the second youngest team. The youngest was the 1971 Dolphins. But the article I'm reading here says they were within a couple hundredths of an age range.
Oh, wow.
The Seahawks. So
yeah, the oldest team this year is the Cardinals, and the youngest is Robbie's own Panthers.
Let's go there.
Actually, you're a Colts fan. My bad.
Wait, Robbie, Legion of Boom, Seattle?
Yeah, it's 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe a year before. Yeah. Interesting.
Quite interesting. Will be a lot of fun. I'm definitely sure we'll get some look at the prop bets and stuff next week when some of those numbers get out and get a little closer.
Going heads or tails for the coin toss. That's an important bet.
Heads all day, baby.
Tails never fails. Come on now,
dude.
This is rookie stuff, Connor.
Yeah, all right. Well, it failed tonight.
No, it didn't. No, the Chiefs game was tails. Then overtime. The Bengals.
Oh yeah, sorry. They said that. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I flipped
it. Failed last week for the Bills.
Yeah. That's great. Yep.
The line has actually already moved. It opened at 3.5 for the Rams. Moved to 4.
Ooh,
there you go. I was.
Robbie was right on. Yeah, very nice. I mean, just testament to Joe Burrow and his guys. people don't remember he tore his ACL last year.
Yeah,
he's a second-year quarterback, and he tore his ACL last year, so we didn't have the full experience of like a rookie quarterback. And he's like, oh, fresh start. He had to go out for a long time and he has a crappy O-line. And
he was busy getting mauled by that O-line.
Yeah. That's why he tore his ACL. Yeah,
still is to this day.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think that anybody expected. Like, I think people expected Jamar Chase to be good. I don't think anybody expected him to have this much of an impact on this team. Like for him to be a solid.
There's so much young wide receiver talent in the league right now. It is pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact that the Bengals have 3 guys with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd that can go off at any time is just it's such a threat to people. Even with a defense like the Rams, even if they're operating at their best, you have 3 guys you have to key on, and not to mention Mixon's having one of his best years he's ever had. Yep. Like you got to key on every single skills player.
Absolutely. Well, I know we'll get a lot of Super Bowl talk next week about those 2 teams, but more NFL news, just of the retirement rumors, coaching changes, a lot of stuff happening. Big Ben finally calling it quits after 18 years. Mm-hmm. Great career, 2 Super Bowls. He should have retired last year. It was a little rough to watch. Amazing the Steelers made the Super Bowl with him at the helm. Or playoffs.
Yeah. First ballot Hall of Famer, yes, no.
2 Super Bowls, 18 years,
he has.
I don't know how you don't. I don't know how you don't.
As much as I don't like him as a person per se, like
which is fair. Not a great human being, but I mean,
beats your unattractiveness.
If you view him in terms of just an NFL quarterback, he is legitimately one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time. If you look at some of the like craziest, because I remember seeing this a few months ago when I looked up like Ben Roethlisberger statistics. I was looking up like, so Ben Roethlisberger has had the most 500-yard games in NFL history and is tied with Peyton Manning for having the most perfect passer rating games in NFL history.
I think it's wild to me that people put Peyton so far ahead of them when they had.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I agree with that take.
Like Peyton has a few more stats, I think, because he has more yards and touchdowns.
Yeah,
but
that one
season,
Super
Bowls.
Yeah,
and I think Peyton probably played for longer, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he did.
I would also say that the Steelers traditionally had better defenses than the Colts.
Yes.
Yeah. When the Broncos had pretty stout defenses with Prime Vaughn and all that
Peyton's
kind of
second
stuff.
Super Bowl was not. He didn't win that Super Bowl. I think we talked about that last week. I mean, he got carried.
Yes.
Yeah, but remember that one season where he had 56 touchdowns? The one where he went crazy on the Broncos. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, obviously, I think that honestly, that season is what so many people like. That's why they put him ahead of Roethlisberger, and I think he is ahead of Roethlisberger. I don't think that's a question. I think Peyton Manning's a better all-time quarterback than Roethlisberger. But
I agree. I just don't think there's the gap that a lot of people.
And that's what. And I remember asking my dad, sorry, Dad, I'm going to sell you out real quick. Asking Dad this like a couple weeks ago. I was like, where do you think Ben Roethlisberger ranks all time? I was like, top 20. He's like, nah, no shot. I was like, you can't say no shot to Ben. Like, you can say maybe not, but you can't say there's no way that Ben Roethlisberger is in the top 20 all time.
I think he's probably in the top 20.
I would say he's in the top 20.
Yeah, I would say he's probably on the low. He was on the lower half, but
it could just be generational bias. But I mean,
yeah, very true.
Ever since I've noticed football, Ben's been wearing black and gold on the Steelers.
Yeah,
he's like 5th all time in yards and 7th in touchdown.
He has the stats to back him up.
In the top 20.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Great career at a Big Ben. Sean Payton obviously retiring. I don't know if that's necessary from the Saints organization, from football. I haven't delved really deep into that. I don't know if y'all know any more about that.
I think he's done.
It sounds like it sounds like to me he's taking an Urban Meyer step away and might come back, but I'm not totally sure.
I think he's done.
Think he's done?
I think he's done. I mean, I guess he is stating to like the Saints specifically. I don't know.
The Saints got a lot of hard questions to answer now. They got to bring in a new coach. They're the worst team in cap in the NFL. They got to rebuild soon, right? Like I think you do what you can, trade Kamara, trade some pieces, build up for future drafts, because this year's draft is not looking like the strongest in a while.
No.
So I think you definitely make some moves to make some heavy draft picks in the next year's draft.
Do you trade Michael Thomas?
His stock's at an all-time low right now.
I know, but if you're desperate.
And you're not that desperate yet. You trade Kamara, you potentially
trade some... You trade Kamara? He's
his value's at an all-time high, though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're looking to rebuild, you trade your players that have the best stock at the moment.
And look at McCaffrey. I mean, if you're that much of a workhorse running back, injuries are going to happen. Like, There's just no way to avoid it.
Yeah, Kamara was out for a few games this year. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Yep.
So you don't want to do a serious injury where he is actually out for an extended period of time, because then, like Michael Thomas, his value tanks.
Yeah. Yep. Well, moving on from Sean Payton, another possible retirement. What the hell happened with Tom Brady yesterday? What is happening?
I think he's getting Schefter back for Deflategate. I think it's a ploy on Adam Schefter, and Brady just really wanted to make Schefter look dumb. I think that's what it was.
That would actually be super funny.
Knowing like Tom Brady and just how competitive he's been, 22 years in the league, right? They did not play their best game against the Rams. He does not want to go out like that, right? He proved a point by going to Tampa Bay, winning a Super Bowl without Bill, right? This year, Bucs had a lot of injury problems, and the whole off the field Antonio Brown shit, and a lot of distractions.
That's the thing that struck me about the retirement announcement. So it was like, oh, like he feels like he has nothing left to prove. I'm like, this is Tom Brady we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way this man is ever going to say I have nothing left to prove. Like, he wants to continue to prove that he can be the best quarterback of all time now after 45 years age. Like, he's
with how competitive he is, and he literally led the league in touchdowns, yards, all that. Like, he has plenty left in the tank from what we've seen. So I can't imagine he walks away.
If he does, holy dumpster fire division. If Tom Brady walks away, the NFC South is going to be gross.
It's the Falcons to win.
Yeah, agreed.
It's the Falcons to win. 100%.
They might win the division at 6 or 7 wins.
They're very young too and have a lot of cap space.
Yeah,
they have Matty Ice. They got to figure out what to do with. But if they can land a young quarterback,
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. I think Brady's gone. I legitimately do. I think Brady's gone.
I don't think so.
I think because I think he knows that's all he did, but it's because I'm reading it from the things that he's saying in the press, because he's saying a lot of he said, I can't remember who it was too, but he said something about his wife. Like, his wife hates to see him get hit out there, and he wants to spend time with his kids more.
He's been saying it for years. Giselle has been not liking him getting hit since he started playing football.
But he's I mean, obviously he doesn't look like it and he doesn't act like it, but he's getting up there in terms of a player, a professional football player.
The only other thing I'll give you too, Connor, is he's said for a while, I want to play till I'm 45, and he's 44. So, I mean, I know a lot of times guys say that and they don't actually stand by those limits, but he has reached what he said he was going to.
Gronk also sounds like he's out. Gronk said, if you ask me right now, I'm done. He said something like that. So maybe Gronk's out.
For Brady before.
That's what I mean.
If Brady's playing, Gronk's playing. But I mean,
Gronk's body took more a beating.
This
year.
The ribs.
He's. I would see him retiring more than Brady.
Yeah, I agree with that. But and then another elite quarterback that we have to talk about, Aaron Rodgers. What is Mr. Rodgers going to do in this offseason?
He's not going back to Green Bay.
I agree. No chance. I fully agree.
Especially with all of his I never got the feeling him and Matt LaFleur got along great in the first place. And now all of the offensive coaches are leaving for other jobs. There's just no way to me that Aaron Rodgers comes back next year.
Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, locking it in now.
I think that makes the most sense. I had this weird feeling it's gonna be some team we didn't even think about. I think
possible.
Because you're gonna have to give a lot of capital to get Aaron Rodgers. The Packers aren't gonna accept anything but a king's ransom to get Aaron Rodgers off their team. Yeah. So it's gonna be someone that wants to go big. I don't know
how much more on his contract does he have?
I have no idea.
I mean, early in the last year's obviously the talks, a lot of rumor, and none of them were confirmed, but a lot of rumors coming from Pittsburgh. But I don't know.
That was just smoke and mirrors, no shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. But I mean, with Big Ben gone, and Mason Rudolph isn't the answer. And as much as I hate to say that, as he is an Oklahoma State alum, he's just not a pro player. He's just not that good in the pros.
Serviceable backup, not gonna be a great.
Exactly. So I mean, the Pittsburgh and the quarterback class isn't good this year.
If all three of those guys retire, obviously we know Ben is, but if Brady and Rodgers retire too, ultimate passing of the torch off season for quarterbacks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Really the last of the old guard is gone, and now you have Mahomes and Allen and Burrow. Those guys are officially taking over the league.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously I feel like the last remnants of that may be Stafford, and you got to give props to Stafford for getting out of Detroit and getting in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Come on.
You got Stafford and Russ kind of in that are in their early 30s.
I always forget Russell Wilson is a quarterback.
Like in between. Kind of in between the
generation. Yeah, he is. He's in between.
What do you want, Cadillac? Chill, bro.
Trying to get on the pod, bro.
Bro, what is your problem?
It's just me. I mean, we might have to move away from football. I think it's dominated about 30 minutes of the podcast. I wanted to touch on baseball really quickly before we potentially got into other things.
Go on a lockout. You can't do that.
Oh, you're right. I might get shot. But the one I want to talk about was the most recent Hall of Fame ballot voting. A lot of spicy things went on with that, Connor. I don't know if you looked into it, but this was the 10th and final year for a lot of the big roid dudes.
Yeah,
that hold all the records but didn't get in. So it was the final year for Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Curt Schillings, and Sammy Sosa. Yeah. All dudes that really defied probably baseball's most prosperous era, but are going to be left out of the Hall.
And that's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like the Hall of Fame is supposed to tell the story of your sport, going back and leaving out the best players from one of the most exciting eras of baseball ever. I mean, you think about Sosa, McGwire, like Barry Bonds chasing Hank Aaron, like that was a big time for baseball, and you're just going to act like they didn't exist.
Sammy Sosa got 18.5% of the vote for the Hall of Fame. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He was a generational player before I even get on the juice. Same with Bonds. Bonds got 66% of the vote.
Barry Bonds is the worst one. Like Barry Bonds is up there for being one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and he's not going to get in the Hall because he was doing what everyone else was doing at the time. Like,
David Ortiz, I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame, but his first year on the ballot, he gets in over Bonds is criminal. Come on, man. Like,
Baseball Writers Association is a bunch of dusty old men that need to.
I agree.
The house, honestly.
I would say my argument is that for them specifically is that if you even pretend that you split their career, right? You say you take this first half of the career, whenever they start taking roids, you take out all their accolades, you take out all their stats. Like a lot of those guys would still have a Hall of Fame career.
That's correct.
So that doesn't make sense to me.
I would have no issue with them putting those guys in and like even putting an asterisk next to them.
Yeah,
like. Sure. I'd be fine with that too. Like I get that, but just like acting like they didn't exist. Same thing with Pete Rose. I mean,
that one gets me more than anything because especially with the MLB getting agreements with DraftKings and all that kind of stuff. Really, you're going to be that hypocritical. You're going to keep the man banned from the sport.
He wasn't betting on himself. He wasn't throwing games. He wasn't fixing games. He was just gambling on sports, which is a very mainstream thing to do now.
Yes,
that. Just doesn't.
I think this is really bad for baseball's image. I think this really, especially with baseball having trouble connecting with the younger generations, like football and basketball have done.
Terrible popularity right now.
It's probably the worst we've seen this in the last 20 years.
Stanford is an awful commissioner. I mean, just abysmal. I mean, completely botched the Astros thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's horribly handled.
I know he's not in charge of the Hall of Fame in any way, shape, or form, but I mean, you're right. He's not doing anything to grow the game. Like they're trying to speed up the game, which is great. It needs to be sped up because no one wants to sit around and watch 162 games.
Played the sport for decade and a half. Yeah, I don't watch baseball very often. It's just unless it's postseason, it's 162 games is a very long time. I can't imagine playing that, man. I mean.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
And Lord knows the Rangers aren't ever in the postseason anymore. They had two massive signings in this offseason, didn't they?
They committed $500 million to two dudes.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the Rangers over in 48 hours have the best middle infield in the game.
Yeah,
but we need 9 players and a pitcher. So
I think
the pitching pen. So
I think the Braves are going to drop off pretty well next year because I don't think Freddie Freeman's coming back.
Magical season by them. I wouldn't be shocked.
I think they'll still be competing for the playoffs. I think they'll still be probably the favorite to win the NL East, maybe the Mets. But I don't think Freddie Freeman's coming back. I mean, Acuna is probably the best player, but Freddie Freeman is the heart and soul of that team. So with him, it won't be the same.
I was just looking at the 30 people that were on the ballot for the Hall of Fame voting, and if you get less than 5% of a vote, you're off, right? Yeah. So some names: Lincecum, Ryan Howard, Teixeira, Justin Morneau. He only got 1% of the vote, and I wouldn't think necessarily he's a Hall of Famer, but he was a really good player.
I think Lincecum is the one that shocked me the most, and his biggest problem is that he just had too short of a career.
I agree.
His years are Hall of Fame worthy when he was actually playing, but he just too short of a career due to injuries. That
Prince Fielder too. He won like an MVP, I'm pretty sure, in Milwaukee. Yeah. So, A-Rod, it was his first year on the ballot, 34%. Manny Ramirez, who also got mixed up with the PEDs, it was his 6th. I doubt he ever gets in. I think A-Rod eventually gets in, but
it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So it's a little frustrating for those guys, and like I think Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds are on a completely different level than like Curt Schilling. In my opinion, just like having watched the game, those dudes are some of the best ever to do it. But I don't know. Baseball needs to get a grip, acquire a grasp. They're losing a lot of popularity. Yeah. They're going to be passed by hockey if they're not careful, because
hockey's doing well right now because they added. You can watch every single NHL game on ESPN Plus now.
Yep.
Baseball is America's pastime.
Yeah,
because that's true still.
Well, it's past time for me.
Hey, podcast. But onto sports with bad commissioners to sports with good commissioners. Let's talk about Adam Silver, NBA All-Star selections.
Yeah,
segue, baby.
Questions about that? No, not at all.
All right, and I know
Andrew Wiggins MVP.
I know the main topic, the main question people have. Andrew Wiggins, All-Star starter, and the only thing that I found out conclusively was that there's a massive K-pop star who, as soon as voting started, he tweeted. He has like an incredible following. He tweeted out that please vote for Andrew Wiggins for an All-Star starter, and that's why Wiggins got so many votes. Is because he has that K-pop star has such a massive following.
Why are fans voting? What? It was the same thing with Zaza.
It's 50% of the vote. Like, why?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna disrespect Wiggins and say that him and Zaza getting on the All-Star team.
No,
I think
not
he's
the same.
An All-Star spot. He played very well this season. He's been playing well, but like, come on, he's not a starter.
Over Luka, over Booker, over like some. Who was the other guy? Yeah. It was like not supposed to be. It was some. I mean, like, if you look at his stats, they're not that good, like, season-wise.
I think there was an argument to be made that he could have been an all-star reserve. I don't think that would have been terrible, but it's not even close to being.
Because in this K-pop star tweet, he said that Andrew Wiggins is a phenomenal two-way player. That's a fact. Andrew Wiggins is a phenomenal two-way player, and he's a great player. But I mean, this season he's averaging 18, 4, and 2. Like, that's not an all-star starter.
He's shooting like 40% from 3, though. That's pretty good.
That's actually kind of nuts. I didn't know that.
But now Clay's back, so where does Wiggins fit into the Warriors' offense with that?
Well, also,
why did this K-pop star tweet about Wiggins?
Because he just likes him. He really likes it. I
always forget that Andrew Wiggins is Canadian too. That always throws me off.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also with Klay Thompson too. I mean, Klay Thompson's another one of those guys who got the third most votes in the West from fan votes, and as you said, fan vote is 50% of the selection. Like,
who votes from the players though?
Dude,
certain player that hasn't played a single second of basketball.
That's what I mean. It's like, why are those guys even eligible?
Ben Simmons got 2 votes from the players to be.
Zach LaVine didn't make it.
Yeah,
like, he's been a top 5 player this year. Arguable, but like
up there.
Like,
yeah.
Anyways,
so I'll run down the list real quick for the NBA All-Star starters. So we have LeBron James. I mean,
mid.
True, mid,
but
but also playing some of the best basketball of his career. At 37, whatever.
Carrying the lifeless corpse of the Lakers.
We touched on last week.
Spoke about that last week.
Carrying.
Kevin Durant, captain of the Eastern Conference team, as expected.
No issue with that.
No issue with that. We have Stephen Curry on the Western team because
he's been playing like crap lately. Like,
he's shooting great from like 2.
No, ever since he broke the record, he just has been playing awful. Maybe I used to having Clay back still. I don't know.
Maybe
that
could be it.
Big time.
Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Eastern Conference All-Star.
You butchered that.
No, I was Giannis. That's how you say it. Obviously another fantastic player. Western Conference, Jokic, because of course, like, yes, the Joker. Yeah. On the Eastern side, we have Joel Embiid, of course. Pretty damn solid. Western side, Ja been playing out of his mind this season. So
him and Embiid are probably up it's some of the front runners for MVP now.
Fully deserved, yeah. Ja is fully deserved. And then the last two, Trae Young on the Eastern Conference side, and then you got to give it up for DeMar DeRozan this season, man. DeMar DeRozan has been on another one.
Yep. I think that's probably why Levine wasn't a starter, right? They can't put two Bulls players as starters. Only the Warriors get that. No other team is allowed to have that. So,
yeah.
Indeed.
Anyways,
indubitably. Robbie, I know you were talking about it earlier, but so earlier in the week, I saw that the U.S. won the World Cup qualifier 1-0, and then lost today 2-0. So that's good.
Yeah, but good news from today. Mexico also tied with Costa Rica, so we were still tied for second.
Okay.
But so the way the World Cup qualifying works, I don't know if y'all know, I don't know if the listeners know, but it's essentially a group, and the top 3 teams automatically make the World Cup, and the 4th place team has to go play an international playoff against the Asian region, I think, or Oceania. They're one of the other regions for qualifying. You have to go play a playoff against them to get in the World Cup if you finish at 4th. Yep. And so right now, Canada is firmly atop the top of the table, which is shocking. But
22 points in 10 games played.
You have Mexico and the U.S. at 18, tied up right there at 3, and then Panama at 17.
Nipping at the heels.
The U.S. is still in a little bit of danger. However, they do get Honduras this week, which I think
last
Honduras
place.
Is on the table.
Distant last.
But we do have to play in Honduras, which the U.S. does not travel well. We are awful on the road, as seen by us losing to Trinidad and Tobago last go-round to not make the World Cup.
Absolute agony, to be honest.
We couldn't. Remember, we were trying to find that game, Ryan. We couldn't even find it on TV. We literally watching someone filming with a webcam and watching us lose. But
I was very sad.
U.S. is still in a good spot. They have to get 3 points in Honduras. Absolutely, that's 3 points we have to come home with. If they do that, I think they'll be all right. But definitely not the result they wanted today.
If I'm being totally honest, I think the only soccer or football for our international fans game that I've fully watched the entire game was England versus Italy and the Euro. Oh my God, what's it called? It was last year's final, like the Euro Cup. I can't remember what the name is. It's the Euros, is what they call like the slang term.
Europa? That is just the Euros.
No, it's called the Euro. Yeah, the European Championship. Yeah. And that they went to penalties, and oh my dude, that penalty shootout was ridiculous. Like that was so fun to watch.
I watched most of our World Cup qualifying matches, like the last couple of sessions. I haven't had a chance to watch either of them. The most recent two. I'm hoping I can watch Honduras on Friday. Actually, no, I'm not gonna watch Honduras on Friday. So maybe the next international window.
Yeah, where are we gonna be, Rob?
Nash Vegas.
Nash Vegas.
Yes,
sir.
Maybe we should try to find Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think that should be a priority. Absolutely.
Probably, yeah.
Roll Tide, am I right?
Roll big die, yes, sir.
On the wild world of sports, if we wanted to move into any of the culture, do we have culture in this podcast?
Before we go there, we should address the Winter Olympics a little bit because that's coming up this week.
Hey, can I make an apology for all of us for last week? We were talking about the Olympic sports we wanted to watch, and we didn't mention curling.
That's
a miss. That's a big miss on our part. So apologies to all of our curling fans out there, especially U.S. won a gold medal in curling last Olympics, so
USA
got to be locked in for that. We were doing some research before. I think Connor and I were, because I think everyone kind of forgets about the Winter Olympics sometimes. But the U.S. projected to finish 5th in medals. The Norwegians leading the way as per usual. Any type of cross country skiing, you're going to have the Norwegians at the top. That's always a good time. Ryan, I have a fun fact for you though that we learned.
Please.
The Soviet Union has been in more Winter Olympics than Russia.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Union has been in 9 Winter Olympics and Russia has been in 6.
Well, they are technically still the Russian Olympic Committee because they can't figure it out.
because they were doping and they're not allowed to country anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't get a grip.
Definitely expect the Norwegians to come out on top of the medals. The U.S., I think our goal as a country should probably just be to beat Canada. We'll probably be pretty close to them, but I mean we're not competing with the Norwegians, the Russians, or the Germans. So we'll see what happens. Snowboarding, we're nuts. We got Chloe Kim, we got Shaun White. Hopefully, we'll see 2 half pipe golds. That'd be sweet.
That'd be very sweet.
Hockey's gonna go poorly because NHL.
NHL pulled out. Yep.
A lot of college kids again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Expect the Russians to
clean
destroy everyone in their path because their league is not lame like the NHL.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at the odds too. Interestingly enough, there is one male bobsleigh competitor who is by far the favorite. He is -550, and then the next best entrant is +1200. So he is by far. There's like 30 people. So he's by far the favorite to win bobsleigh.
First year of the women's monobob. So one person bobsled. That's debuting
Pretty
this
lit.
year. So that should be a good time. The U.S. actually got a gold medalist from Canada who had medaled twice in the bobsled. She is now representing the United States. So maybe we pick up another gold there. Yeah, I
there
think
are 109 medal events across 15 sports.
a lot less than the summer, which is.
We'll obviously have a lot more to talk about in terms of the Winter Olympics next week because obviously medal stuff will get started to count up.
That starts the 4th for our listeners, February 4th, and runs through the 20th.
Yep.
That is correct. I know some like the curling qualifiers I think start on Wednesday actually, so that'll be it's like mixed doubles or something, and those are like that's like the fastest medal. It's like the 9th they already get medaled. So we'll see with that one.
I wanted to touch on Alabama basketball again.
Go ahead, please do.
We lost to Georgia, that had lost 10 straight SEC games, and then we beat Baylor, the number 4 team in the country.
Handled Baylor.
We lost to.
I don't know mentally what to do with this team. To be honest, we play Auburn, which is number 1 ranked, and then Kentucky, which potentially by the next AP poll could be a top 10 team. I think we creep back into I think we're 27th in the AP poll last week, and then we lost Georgia, then beat Baylor, so they might put us in top 25. We shall see.
I apologize in advance for all of the brackets that Alabama messes up come March.
Yeah.
We're either going to make the Final Four or go on the first
That's
round.
correct.
Absolutely no in between, and whatever everyone decides we're going to do, we will do the exact opposite.
That's correct. Yep.
I apologize in advance when Alabama loses your bracket pool. It's going to happen, but
So Ryan,
this Alabama team might lead me to drink like excessively.
So Ryan, Oklahoma State is also experiencing a lot of that pain. A couple nights ago we lost to Iowa State in overtime.
That's top 25 team. We don't hate those.
And then the SEC/Big 12 Challenge, we played
Florida.
Good. We were up by 12, and then we lost.
That's correct. Agony.
We are now 10-10.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, OK State really is struggling from that perspective because they don't have a lot.
Any star
playing
power.
For.
Yeah,
they don't have anything they're playing for, man.
Yeah.
They're not going to go to the tourney, even if. And the Big 12 is incredibly competitive right now. It's the SEC and the Big 12.
Big 12 is very good
in terms of conference power for NCAA.
Big 10.
I think they're third.
You think so?
The Big 12 is like 6 or 7 teams,
or the top 2 conferences right now.
ACC stinks this year because Carolina's pretty mid. Duke's not bad. Syracuse stinks. ACC struggling. We enjoy seeing Carolina struggle.
Yeah.
Where the Deeks at?
Dude, they playing well. They're up towards the top of the ACC as well. I think they beat Carolina this past week. Actually,
love that. Love to see that. I am interested to see where the mock brackets have. I forgot to look this up. See where the mock brackets have us.
Wasn't initially we said they were going to be like 3, I think, but I don't think that's going to be the case anymore.
I think we'll still be a top 5 seed.
Yeah, I'd probably say like 5. I would say 5.
So this was ESPN's bracketology. This was updated the 28th, so 2 days ago. That was before we beat Baylor, and they had us at a 5th seed, which I think is a little aggressive for a 13-7 team, to be honest with you. Well, we do have the by far, I think, the best strength of schedule in the country. We've beat 3 of the 4 last year Final Four teams.
I think we have the most quad 1 wins in the country too.
At 5 or 6, I think.
We're at 6 now. We're at 5 going into this weekend against Baylor, and now we have 6.
Alabama's proved day in and day out they can beat any team in the country depending on when they play them. They could lose at any point as well. I wouldn't be shocked if we somehow lose to Vanderbilt. But
Okay, do we have to play at Vanderbilt?
Probably.
That's for sure an L. We do not. I don't think we've ever won a basketball game in Nashville.
Pain, suffering. Let's see. At Kentucky, at Vandy.
That's back-to-back L's.
That's really tough.
Pain. And then we're at LSU for the final game of the season. They're definitely going to get a revenge win on us.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
I think that's it for sports. Maybe.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna. So just to, because I texted you guys. So just to So we're kind of morphing in entertainment, but I'm going to talk about sports entertainment real quick.
Excellent.
So basically, World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, held a pay-per-view last night called the Royal Rumble. In the Royal Rumble, there's a match which is labeled the Royal Rumble, where if you win this match, you go on to title opportunity of your choosing at WrestleMania. Last night, 2 big names, so Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar, so former UFC fighters, both won their respective Royal Rumbles, which is interesting. And so they go on to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is being held in Dallas this year, and AT&T Stadium. I actually went to the first one that was held in Dallas, which was like 2016. So I
remember you did do that.
I was lit. So yeah, and then in terms of associating WWE, John Cena is in a new show, Peacemaker, which is doing incredible numbers right now. People are saying that it's phenomenal. I was wondering if you guys had seen anything relating to it. If you guys were planning on watching it.
I saw a commercial. I was like, "That's interesting," and that's pretty much
I'm done with that.
It has not operated really any significant portion of my brain.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, what would you use? Maybe 10% of your brain on a good day, Ryan?
Yeah.
Another. I can't even speak. I was going to make a funny joke and then I completely lost it. So no is the short answer. Less, please.
Less.
Did you guys see the remake of the Suicide Squad?
No.
I have not seen it. Ryan, so what did you think of it?
DC, man. They do.
Really?
DC
I heard it was
things.
a lot better. I heard it was a lot better than the first one.
Yeah. It just wasn't inspired.
It's not a very high bar.
Yeah.
Exactly. The plot for the first Suicide Squad was hysterically bad. It was
awful. Why did they have all of the Suicide Squad? The point is none of them have magic abilities, and then the villain was magic.
Literally opening portals and shit.
What?
No idea.
No. All right, okay. On DC movies, why are they so bad? Why can't they
excited
get
for the new Batman movie?
I'm excited to see what they do, but it's also obviously the MCU is a formula,
right?
And DC can't copy that. And obviously they don't want to be the same. They don't want to be associated with them. DC has always operated under that umbrella of we're darker than Marvel is. We are darker than Marvel is, and we're not going to be as funny. We're going to be a lot more serious. But I
think their characters lend themselves to that.
Yeah,
and Batman is a very serious character. Yes. And I think Marvel's going to get into that a little bit with Moon Knight. But I mean, I think their characters set themselves up for being that. I think part of the problem is too is you don't want to copy Marvel and try to do this big universe.
Yeah.
Because what Marvel's put off is almost nearly impossible to do. I mean, it's a miracle that it even happened. So if you're DC, I think you need to focus on developing good characters to kind of have their own thing going on. So if Robert Pattinson's Batman is good, don't try to start bringing in Gal Gadot into his Batman movies. Let him have kind of his own realm, like The Dark Knight. Or something like that.
Well, that's what I mean, though. You say that, in terms of they don't want to create this whole universe. The first movie they dropped was Batman vs. Superman with Wonder Woman in it and Doomsday. Yeah. So you already had a massive crossover, and that was your first movie. And I think that was their first mistake. Why did you start with the crossover? That makes no sense.
Man of Steel came out before that, didn't it?
But they were, but
very memorable.
But they were trying to start from point A, right? They were basically trying to do the same thing that Marvel was. They're trying to start from point A. They're hey, this is our Iron Man, basically. But it's just, or I guess technically,
and then Justice League.
Oh yeah, that movie was. I mean, okay, to be fair, Wonder Woman was phenomenal. The first Wonder Woman movie was very good. Yeah. Why couldn't they model stuff after? Why did they have such a hard time living up to that? I don't know what the issue was.
Because making movies is hard. Very honestly.
Yes. And
also you're going up against what Marvel has produced.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm excited for Pattinson's Batman. I think doing the Riddler, not doing the Joker is a very good move. We've seen the Joker so much.
Yeah,
I think that'll go well. But
well, and then you could
pick on the superhero talk in this podcast.
Well, you could also say that because like Joaquin Phoenix Joker wasn't a part of the DC stuff, and there was I thought there was another movie that they released that wasn't a part of the DC. It was a DC character, but it wasn't part of the movies. It wasn't part of the universe. I can't remember what it was though. But yeah,
they've done like Shazam.
Oh yes, that's what it was. Thank you. But people like Shazam. People thought Shazam was pretty good. And they had Aquaman. Aquaman was fine. It's just fine. Like that's all it is. It's just fine.
It'll do.
Yeah,
it'll do.
But I agree with the Robert Pattinson thing. I think people overlook him because of Twilight. Basically, and people and they don't realize how many diverse roles he's been in, and he is an incredibly solid actor. I mean, hell, he was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter. Like, he's an incredibly solid actor. So I think he will be a lot better than people are anticipating him as. But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any other movies or TV shows that you are hyped for?
I'm actually looking for something new to watch. I kind of wanted to get into Blacklist. I've seen some episodes here and there. I remember watching with mom and dad occasionally, and I've always liked him. I love the actor. I forget his name. I'm terrible with actors' names. But he's been in a lot of stuff.
James Spader?
I think that sounds right. I was going to say James Spann, but that's the weatherman for Alabama. So.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Spader.
It's James Spader, right? Superhero. He voiced Ultron.
I still need to finish Game of Thrones. I think I'm in season 4.
Oh God, you're in the peak. You're in the peak.
Yeah. I watched The Red Wedding not too long ago. That was pretty exciting.
Nice.
Wait, what did you watch?
The Red Wedding was like one of the more recent episodes that I saw. So
okay, yeah.
I gotta finish that. I gotta catch up on Star Wars. I still haven't watched Mandalorian season 2.
That's what. Yeah,
I watched that.
I gotta catch up on Boba Fett.
I got halfway through the 4th episode of Boba, and something happened, and I forgot to finish it.
Yeah. Apparently, it's starting picking up. People say that it was a little slow, and I agree that it was a little slow. But apparently, it started to pick up a lot. So I'm interested to get back into that. I finished Queen's Gambit recently. I don't know if either of you guys watched Queen's Gambit.
I never finished it.
She is the main actress. She is now in a Netflix show called Peaky Blinders, I believe now.
You ever watched Peaky Blinders? That's a good one too.
No, but the lead actress is the same, I believe, or she's on the cover of it on Netflix.
Interesting thing about the Queen's Gambit. So in the show, they mention another famed woman chess player.
Yeah,
and talks about how she never really played against men, right? So that wasn't fictional. That was an actual chess grandmaster's woman's name, and she's suing Netflix for defamation.
Oh damn. No.
So and Netflix is talking about trying to get the case thrown out, saying it was Queen's Gambit is a partially fictional historical fiction, right? Yeah. And trying to get it all thrown out. Judge said no, so it's going to court. So Netflix could be in a little bit of hot water and having to pay out a settlement for that.
Screw Netflix. They've taken so many good shows off of Netflix. It's so aggravating. They took off The Office. I mean, I'm not a huge Office fan, but in terms of holistically, they took off The Office, they took off Friends, they took off Parks.
And how much they'd have to pay to keep some of those on? That's
what they did. No, they paid a ridiculous amount for Friends and then just let it go the next year. It was why? So yeah, Parks and Rec, and I've heard that they're gonna release New Girls, or they're gonna let go of New Girls soon. It's every single good comedy show is off Netflix now.
All the comedy sitcoms are just
everything. I was like, what bro? It's so aggravating.
No, quick turn real quick from shows and whatnot. In Florida, this is some weather news. In Florida, it's going to be this morning it was 36 degrees in West Palm Beach, a wind chill of 32. Apparently it was so cold that there was an only Florida weather event happening, which was called Isolated Falling Iguanas. It's so cold that these iguanas that are like laying dormant because they're cold-blooded are falling out of trees and hitting people.
Just Florida things.
Just legitimately Florida things.
Oh my!
It's the coldest temperature in more than a decade in Miami. All these freeze warnings. All these people don't know how to act in Florida with it being.
Meanwhile, we're getting 48 inches of snow here on Wednesday.
The East Coast is getting hammered.
Yeah, I don't know how to drive in the snow, so we'll see what happens.
I mean,
find a pole.
New York,
work from home.
New York and Boston yesterday had like 20 inches in a day. Like what? And I mean, here, like down in the South, Oklahoma, Texas, we're supposed to get 5 inches on Wednesday. Of snow. So it's like
couldn't be us.
So we're up to 6 to 10 now.
So basically, what I'm saying is global warming doesn't exist.
All right. Well, this is apparently a red-pilled podcast.
That was a joke.
Have you ever seen?
It's time for Ryan's
climate. Have you ever seen climate?
I've never seen it. Never seen a bird either. And it's time for Ryan's Day. I learned fact of the day.
Oh, here we go.
Do you want to hold on before you do that one? Do you want to clarify what you learned about your fact from last week that we talked about after the podcast?
Yes. So, if you're an avid listener of the podcast and you listened last week, my fact then was that every panda on planet Earth is owned and leased by China for like $1 million to $2 million a year. But
Big Panda Podcast.
Yeah, Big Panda Podcast. But I learned that there were pandas that were on loan to Mexico that mated before there was a clause, and they had 2 baby pandas, and those 2 pandas are the only pandas in the world that are not owned by China, but in fact owned by Mexico. So we have Mexican pandas.
2 of them. Massive population.
Thank you for
China. So good job.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Robbie. But on Today I learned I'm talking about the Superstore Kmart.
Have you double-checked this fact?
I have double-checked this fact. So for our generation, many of us probably haven't been inside of a Kmart, and there's good reason for that. Kmart has no more than 12 remaining stores in the United States. At its peak in 1994, there were over 2,300 stores in the United States and 2,500 stores globally. Until 1990, when it was surpassed by Walmart, it was the second largest retailer in the United States after Sears. So it is crazy to see what 20 years can do to a store like that.
There's 12 stores left?
12. 1, 2.
Where are they located?
The one in Salisbury closed down not too long ago. We had one the whole time I was growing up. No, I went in like a couple of times. There's a Walmart block away, so I don't know why you'd ever go to Kmart.
That's actually nuts.
2 of them are planned to close of those 12.
So they'll barely have double digits.
That's correct, yes.
It's funny that you mentioned Sears with them, too, because Sears has also dropped off a cliff in terms of...
I mean, they were literally bankrupt. It was horribly managed. Sears could have had everything. Sears could have been the... if any of our listeners have seen Wall-E, I forget the whole name of that corporation that essentially runs all, the stores and the space travel. What was that corporation called, Connor? Do you remember?
I'm looking at By and Large.
By and Large, right? Sears could have been By and Large, but real. They fumbled the bag with a lot of their business decisions. They had, the retail space. They had their own appliance lines. They had gone into financials. I mean, they could have been everything, but they just didn't adapt with the times. And we're passed, quickly by Walmart and Amazon and all those kind of things. And, Sears' most valuable assets nowadays were their physical geographical locations, but with, malls and stuff being absolutely obliterated, Sears is pretty much all but a distant memory now, which is crazy. If you had asked our parents where Sears would be in 2020, 2022, none of them would have seen what has happened to them coming.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff.
So how do y'all think it would go? So we're talking about Wall-E, right? We got By and Large. So I feel like the By and Large now would be Walmart. How would a Walmart space exploration go? How do y'all think that would go?
I feel like
probably not.
I feel like the By and Large now is Amazon.
I guess maybe, yeah. I guess
the By and Large started as a department store is kind of why you think Walmart originally.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that's a good point.
Amazon's the big old e-commerce.
Yeah. Speaking of Wally, where does that rank in y'all's Pixar movies?
Oh God, I'm so ready to put a list together for that. Can we do that? Do we have enough time on this podcast?
Yeah, we have as much time as we want.
I want a tier list. I don't know. We need to bring this up. I want some hot takes. I'm very opinionated.
Please get the screen share up so our YouTube listeners can make a tier list with us.
I also see far, far, far too much respect for Cars 2. Cars 2 is ass.
Oh,
certifiable ass.
What do you mean terrible take? Robbie.
It's Cars. It can't
Cars 2 is abysmal.
Get a grip, Burstone.
I think the last time I watched Cars 2, I was pretty drunk. So
that's
changing my perspective.
Okay. To be fair,
we went on a little tear of watching Cars in the house.
Are these all the Pixar movies? I feel like that's not all the Pixar movies.
Oh, Ryan, are you sharing it?
You can do it. Sorry, I was looking.
No, I was just. So I got it right here. Can you guys see?
Yep.
Okay, so I will do the Pixar. So, baby, here we go. So for the Spotify listeners, we will narrate what we're doing. For the YouTube listeners, obviously, you guys can see along. So the first one we got.
Check out the YouTube, though.
Say it again?
So go check out the YouTube, though.
Yeah,
please.
Streams.
Please.
Y'all can still see it on your screen, right?
Zoom in a skosh.
A Bug's Life. I feel like A Bug's Life is like right in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say B tier.
I would probably say low.
I haven't seen it in forever, but I think it's B to C.
Brave is pretty good. Brave is pretty good.
I was gonna say A. I like Brave. Brave was a good one.
I can get behind that.
Cars 2 is awful. I'm not even gonna debate about that. Cars 2 is F tier.
Cars 2 is bad.
Cars 2.
I
would argue that Cars 2 is the only bad Pixar movie.
There's a take.
Have you seen Soul?
Soul is not bad.
It's pretty
Cars 2 is bad.
It's pretty bad.
All of us haven't seen, so what are we putting not seen?
I have not seen The Good Dinosaur.
Three of us, I have not either.
I have not seen that one. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's not seen.
Perfect.
Okay, Cars 3 is okay.
C tier. It's C tier.
Yeah, I agreed. Robbie?
C tier.
Oh, Cars is S tier. Cars is S tier.
Cars is S tier. Yeah,
Cars is S tier.
Okay, Coco is S tier. Coco is so good.
Coco is really good. Coco is really good.
I guess apparently I have to go see it.
I'm going to snitch on myself with Coco. So I was taking a Spanish class and I was supposed to watch a movie in Spanish.
Yeah.
And so I picked Coco because there is a Spanish version, but I still watched it in English.
I love that.
So I apologize to my Spanish teacher about that, but I definitely did not watch the movie in Spanish.
Ryan, Coco is so good.
I will. Apparently, it's very high on my list. I gotta see it.
Finding Dory is in this tier. No, Finding Dory is C tier.
I was paying attention. I thought it was Finding Nemo.
I think it's
my apologies.
C tier.
I
wouldn't go below B tier on Finding Dory.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan.
Okay. I would agree it's better than Cars 3.
Finding Nemo is S tier.
I agree, but I'm going to have a hot take here. I think Finding Nemo is the most overrated Pixar movie ever.
I don't know how it's overrated.
I think Incredibles is the most overrated Pixar movie
you're out of your gourd. You're out of your gourd.
Okay, The Incredibles is S to A tier, but it is overrated in terms of how people view it culturally.
Inside Out, I say A tier.
I don't think I've ever seen Inside Out.
Inside Out is very good. Inside Out is borderline S tier for me as well.
I'd say it's above Brave. But right there.
Okay.
I've never seen Luca, but I've heard it's good.
Never seen
it. Haven't seen it.
Monsters Inc. is S tier.
S tier, yep.
S tier.
Wait, okay, should we let's rank them in the tiers. So what do we think of here?
We'll come back to that. Let's get them all up on the board and
Monster University, I like Monster University. I don't think it's that bad.
I'd go B tier, B to C.
I'd say high C.
Okay.
Onward is good. Onward is good.
Never saw.
Ooh.
Majority not seen. I think you throw it in the not seen.
Ratatouille, baby.
A tier.
A tier, yeah.
Agreed. I would probably put it.
I would put it above Brave, below Inside Out.
Ooh.
Yep, I think it's fair.
I think these are really close. I think these are really close. I
would agree.
Soul. Apparently, Robbie hates Soul. So
no higher than D. That movie is not very good.
Okay, I think it's C tier, so we'll put it in D. Incredibles 2 is C tier, I'd say. B.
I was gonna say B.
I'd say B. Incredibles is S tier.
Yep, I agree.
Toy Story 2 is S tier. Toy Story 3 is Toy Story 3 is the worst of the 4.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think the first one is worse.
Really?
I like Toy Story 3.
Yeah. I think the first personally,
Ooh.
Toy Story 2 S, I would say 3.
Yeah. I'd put 3 in A, but I really like 3.
Really? Ooh, I don't like that take.
It's got the best plot twist out of all of them, bro. The absolute best plot twist.
5-year-old, like what? Get a grip. Come on, man.
I like Toy Story 3.
Let's rank Up and Wall-E, then we'll come back. I feel like Toy Story
Up is S tier. Up is S tier.
So is Wall-E.
Wall-E's not S tier. Wall-E's not S tier.
I mean, it's really good.
Yeah, what?
I would put it at A tier.
I think it's A tier. I don't think it's S.
I can settle for A tier.
I don't think it's on the levels of these.
Top of A tier.
Okay,
Top of A
fine.
tier.
Yeah, I just don't think it's on the level of the ones that.
I don't think Wall-E's better than Ratatouille, personally, but here we are.
I don't either. I agree with that, actually.
All right, well, I'm overruled there then.
Okay, so we'll put it right here. Robbie, do you think it's better than Inside Out?
I haven't seen Inside Out, so.
Okay, so
Inside Out's very good. I personally would put Inside Out S tier, but then we're gonna have way too many movies in S tier.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Ryan, what do you think Toy Story 3 goes?
It's hard.
For the listeners at home right now, in S tier we have Cars, Coco, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., Incredibles, Toy Story 2, and Up. A tier with Inside Out, Wall-E, Ratatouille, Brave. B is Bugs Life, Finding Dory, Incredibles 2. C is Monsters University, Cars 3. D is Soul. F is Cars 2, and then not seen is Good Dinosaur, Luca, and Onward. I've seen Onward, but the other two have not.
Here's my take. I think
God.
you have one at each tier, A, B, C. I think you have Toy Story 3, bottom of A tier. I think you have Toy Story 4, top of B tier. And I have Toy Story Original above Cars 2, but below Monsters University.
I'm okay with that. I never finished Toy Story 4.
You have Toy Story below Monsters University?
I think I do.
Oh, I hate that take.
There's the take. There's the take.
There's the take.
I actually
the cast.
I actually do kind of like Monsters University.
We're also back to Pixar.
Toy Story 3 is not. Oh man. Okay, so what did you say, Ryan? So here, yeah, I'd agree with Toy Story's top of beat, but I would drop Toy Story 3 here.
Rob, do you have a opinion on the matter?
Well, he likes Toy Story 3 too.
Toy Story 3 is probably my favorite Toy Story movie. So
Heavens, that's a take.
That's a take.
There we are.
I'm just gonna be honest. I really like Toy Story 3.
Oh,
I feel bad for the bear, man. I feel bad for the bear.
He's a wiener.
Yeah, but because his owner didn't love him. That's tough, man.
tough.
I think it's a
Toy Story 4 is good.
A tip of the cap to Pixar that we only have one F tier movie.
God, it's so bad though, isn't it? Okay, to be fair,
it's horrendous. It's horrendous.
What's the one joke that like went viral on TikTok from Mater? He's like, oh, it was like Agent something, and oh my god, what was the joke?
Yeah, I mean, with all Pixar movies, there's a couple of lines.
But yeah, that actually makes me laugh every time I hear it.
I think my favorite all-time Pixar movie is Cars.
I'm okay with Cars staying at number 1.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
I've never seen Coco. I have no opinion, so that's going to be up to y'all.
I think Coco, Monsters Inc., and Incredibles are all in the same boat. So I would move Nemo below.
Oh, that's tough. It's tough, but I can swallow it.
I would leave them in this order. I would actually leave them in this exact order right now. Dude,
Up, like some of the emotional moments from Up are the beginning.
Can't put Up above Toy Story 2. I'm a homer for Toy Story 2.
That's fine, but dude, what is it called? The vignette or whatever of him getting older. Oh my god. It's so well done.
Yep.
Heartbreaking stuff. Inside Out is very, very good. Wall-E is, I mean, you guys, Ratatouille has some very funny moments. Brave is very solid. I can't get on board with Toy Story 3 at A. Toy Story 4 is good. Bugs Life, I just don't think any of us have seen it in a long time.
Forever.
It might have been. It's one of the first Pixar.
It was good, yeah. It's good, yeah.
I don't know if Toy Story or Bugs Life is the first one, but I think
Toy Story is. I think Toy Story is the first one, and then it's Bugs Life. Same with Finding Dory. I've only seen it once, and I haven't seen it in a long time.
It was good.
Incredibles 2, I think I've seen like twice. I think it's fine. It's obviously not as good as the first one. Monsters University. I think Monsters University is one of the most slept on Pixar movies. Cars 3 is fine. In terms of like the trilogy, or in terms of the sequels and trilogies, you could argue that Cars had like the worst follow-ups.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I 100% agree with that.
I think it's because the first story was so solid that they didn't know where to go.
Yeah, personally, I think the Toy Story sequel is the best sequel ever made.
That's very good.
There's my take.
People would I haven't seen the movies, but people I know love Godfather Part 2. They say that's the best sequel ever. But
so how much longer we got on the pod? Y'all want to break down the Pixar theory real quick? Go through each movie and how it's connected, just real quick on the pod. How much time we got?
I think we leave that for next week.
Yeah.
We would revisit and be like, for all you big fans of Pixar, here we are. We broke down these movies. You let us know your opinions. I think we break down the theory from there.
Robbie, I would like a little, not like too in depth, but what was your issue with Soul?
I can't even remember. I just walked away from that movie being like, that wasn't very good. I just didn't really enjoy it.
To be fair,
I don't have any concrete reason for you, to be honest.
Pixar does a fantastic job of doing, hey, it's for adults and it's for kids. It has a really clear and concise message for kids. It's like, hey, here's the moral, here's why you can understand. And it has the adult jokes but it's also very appealing for adults as well. The problem in this one, and problem in Soul, I think specifically, was that the storyline was about death and existential being. And so for kids, it's how do kids relate to this at all?
The characters just weren't very good either. The main character, he was just grouchy and not very enjoyable. And then the supposed to be the funny character, the pick it up character, just kind of came off as annoying at times. And,
it was Tina Fey, wasn't it? I think it was Tina Fey.
Yeah, just the character. I feel like Pixar always has great characters, and I feel like the characters from Soul were mid. I didn't really like any of them.
That's valid. All right, well, obviously we got some. I don't know if I wouldn't say any of these are hot takes. I mean, I don't agree with Toy Story 3, but that's the only thing I have an issue with out of everything. Actually, no, I'm not okay with Cars 3 being over Toy Story. The original.
I'm okay with that.
Really? Do you guys really not like the original Toy Story that much?
That shit was creepy, bro.
Yeah, I did not like the doll.
Mom hates Toy Story, the original one.
She doesn't like. No, she hates Wall-E more though. She can't stand Wall-E.
I might have to ask her that one.
Did you not know that? No, Mom can't stand Wall-E.
She does not like Wall-E. I think she really doesn't like Toy Story though.
No, she constantly says that Wall-E is her least favorite Pixar movie. She hates Wall-E.
That's a horrendous take.
Yeah, I agree.
That's worthy of criminal prosecution.
Heavens. Heavens. Yeah, but I actually, the Good Dinosaur I heard was okay. Luca I heard was pretty good, and then I watched Onward. Onward was very good. Onward was voiced by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, so they got big names, but that was very good.
I'm definitely glad we went through a tier list. I think we should do a tier list every week on the podcast.
I totally agree.
I think so too. Yeah.
Our listeners potentially, we might post something on Instagram and put a poll out and see if we get any information, feedback on what tiers you'd like us to rank.
We definitely have to bring back the quarterback attractiveness tier list.
Yeah,
I think so. We need a full in-depth breakdown of Connor's crush on Derek Carr. Full in-depth.
Yeah, I didn't love it as his brother, but here we are.
Real
quick, because we didn't get really any conversations about it, right back into sports. Bergstone, we talked about you being our NHL analyst. We didn't talk about any hockey games today. Can you give us a prediction for a game tomorrow? Something that you'll lock in. If you want to pull up real quick, see if there's any matchup you like.
For all of our listeners, I hit a hockey parlay today, so I actually am now the NHL expert. Granted, I didn't actually make the parlay. One of my friends hooked me up with it, but
this is not financial advice.
Absolutely not.
We hit those. I don't even know who plays tomorrow.
Robbie couldn't even name you the teams. More than Ryan, though.
Kraken fan.
We're gonna lock in the Hawks over the Canucks tomorrow.
Ooh, okay.
Money line.
Yeah, money line. Hawks at home. Both pretty average teams in the NHL, average to bad teams in the NHL. But I think the Hawks get the better of them.
Solid. Robbie, do we want to, in alignment with the gambling stuff, do we want to run down the predictions from last week? The graphic that you posted up to Instagram today. Do we want to?
Yeah. So I think real quick
sign off after that.
Yep. So Connor, what you were?
I was 3 for 4.
How much did the Rams end up winning by?
Yeah, I'm in absolute agony with my picks. The line was 3.5. Rams won by 3. There's an L for your boy. The over on the Chiefs game was 54.5. I believe it ended at 54. Again, pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So I believe I was.
No, Connor, because you also said the Rams would cover, and they technically didn't cover by half a point.
I thought the line was 3.
No,
3.5.
3.5.
But when we did it, it was 3, wasn't it?
It might have been. What did I post?
Yeah, you put 3. When we did it, it was 3.
Okay, so
Connor, we were right technically. So right?
You still don't get it because you said they would cover. That'd be a push technically. But also both of you said they would cover. I didn't have either of you tell me that it would be right on that number like Ryan did for the Chiefs game. So I think Connor had the best. He had 2. He got the Bengals right, and he got the over the under.
No, the under. I got the under.
The Rams 49ers. Ryan hit the under on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I was over 4.
That is eternal.
I had the best predictions last weekend for the 2 games that we didn't talk about.
So what was I? 1, 2, and 1. A win, 2 losses, and a push. Yeah,
I was 2.
And Connor was
1-1.
2-1 and 1. 2-1 and 1.
We're in the money, baby. Let's get it. Good job, Connor.
We're up.
Let me give me some. Yeah,
this is easy. Of course, Connor would lock that into a parlay and lose all the money.
Let's go back to we're giving Connor props for having the best predictions this weekend. Connor's predictions for the games last weekend were poor.
Bad, to say the least.
Poor. Chiefs by double digits, easy. That was bad. I think we had a Bucks easy cover as well. Maybe not easy cover, but I know you said the Bucks would cover.
I said Bucks cover.
I had some that weren't great.
Yeah, I was about to say I wasn't. Come on now, don't sell me out. Robbie, you had to take that the sour cream and cheddar ruffles were the best chip ever.
Dude, I had sour cream.
Let's not make this personal. Come on.
I had cheddar and sour cream chips yesterday. So I literally had some yesterday.
All right. Yeah, Ryan said Bucks have a better chance of covering than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That aged poorly. I will be the first one to admit that aged rather poorly.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah, we definitely will hold ourselves accountable for our takes on this podcast.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to say thank you to our listeners. The 1 week on our first thing on the podcast, we have 50 views on our YouTube video. Very exciting. I didn't check the Anchor or Spotify stats. I think our executive producer might have a little bit better numbers.
It's about 40. So I mean, we had around 100 listeners for the first episode.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for actually tuning in and listening to these horrendous takes and opinions.
Why do you do it
throughout the world?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we want to thank you guys. And Ryan said that we are available on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor. I want to let everyone know we're also available on Apple and Google Podcasts. So we continue to expand.
Those are things the executive producer didn't tell his.
Yeah, that's on me. Sorry, what, Robbie?
Who's using Google Podcasts?
I'm sorry.
If you're listening to this on Google Podcasts, I need you to comment on our next Instagram post and let me know who hurt you to make you listen on Google Podcasts. That's what I need to know. So if that's you, I'm talking directly to you. Please comment on the next Instagram post and be featured.
Let's plug our social medias real quick. We are available on TikTok. We're available on Instagram. We're available on Twitter. Obviously, YouTube. Every single one of those usernames should be Bros in the Berg. Robbie runs our Instagram and posts incredibly entertaining memes. So I heavily suggest you go check that out.
Photoshop all done by Snapchat. So I mean, it's
great,
high quality stuff coming out.
I think it is. I think it's really, really high
quality. We'll
stuff.
Definitely make sure you save that tier list, Connor. We'll get that put up and get some takes on that.
Yeah, of course. Ryan, you want to sign us out officially?
Absolutely. This is Ryan, Connor, and Robbie for the Bros in the Berg podcast. We thank you for listening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Hope you will join us again next Sunday, and whenever these do get posted on the various platforms. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you again soon.